listening to Opening the Harp Chakra, the podcast, bringing you beautiful, healing, magical harp music and talking with the artists that create it. Today's guest is a 24-year-old musician from the southwest of France who I discovered on the internet. He plays several instruments, guitar, Irish bouzouki, bass, but most importantly, primarily, he plays the harp and plays the harp beautifully. His name, Coriolan. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Jay. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to have this little talk with you today.
When did you start playing the harp, and what inspired you? What brought you to the harp?
It's not a very original story, actually. I started playing the harp about 17 years ago, I think. There was a musician that came to my school, and she made us sing and do musical activities. And she was a harpist. One day she brought her harp, and I instantly fell in love with the instrument. So a couple months later, I started to take lessons. I was 8. And so I took classes with a great teacher. Her name is Anne Bakeris, and she taught me how to play the harp in a kind of a classical way, even if I've always played the Celtic harp and never the pedal harp. Anyway, 8 years later, I had to move for my studies and stop the harp lessons. So I went to Toulouse, a city in southwest France, and there I started to play with every single musician I met, to improvise, to join bands. So I think the way I play now is the result of a combination of the classical training I had and all the projects I played in, mostly modern and amplified music. Yeah.
How would you describe your style of music?
That's not an easy one. To be general, I would say I play folk music, even if I take inspiration in a lot of very different musical genres. I always try to mix these influences to the folk style, as it's what I know the best. But otherwise, I think my music is very connected to nature, to the elements, to the cycles of the seasons. I grew up between a garden and a forest, and this is rooted deep within me, I think.
Let's take a listen to some of your music. This is an improvisational piece that you did specifically for this podcast, which I love, which is so cool. Will you please introduce it?
I don't know how to introduce an improvisation, but well, I didn't know what to send you for this podcast because I didn't want to give you too many old pieces from my previous albums, and I felt it was too soon to send you something from my next one. So I improvised something.
an improvisational piece from Coriolan, who recorded that piece, produced it just for this podcast. Thank you so much. So you have 2 solo albums. Tell us about those.
Okay, sure. So I released one album, Jamais Seul. It means never alone in French. And so I released it in 2017. It's an album around the Celtic harp, even if I played a bit of guitars and bouzouki and some other things. I named it like this because almost every tune in it was written for someone I love. Family, friends, girlfriend. So that's Jamais Seul. And 1 year later, in 2018, I released a 4-track EP called Sentier that I recorded in my bedroom home studio. Sentier means something like trail, path. Yeah, something like a little path in the woods, for example. There's less harp in this one, and it's more about guitar, percussions. I wanted to try something different, and I had a lot of fun recording it.
So let's hear another song. This is from your solo CD, Jamais Seul. It's called Le Roche Jaune. Please tell us about it.
La Roche Jaune, the yellow rock. I had the idea of this melody maybe 5 years ago. I was in Brittany, in a beautiful place near the sea, where lives my girlfriend's aunt. And this very inspiring place is called La Roche Jaune.
From the CD Jamais Seul, that is La Roche Jaune from today's guest, Coriolan from France. So I understand you're currently working on a new album. What is inspiring you? What can we expect to hear?
Yeah, I've been working on it for almost 2 years now. So right now it's taking a lot of space in my life. But hopefully I'm seeing the end of it. And in a couple of months, it should be finished and beautiful. And well, I hope so. It's an album about insomnia and solitude and the difficulty of letting things go. I know this can be dark themes, but I always try to bring light in my music so I can play with shadows. So this one will feature a lot of Celtic harp, of course, and voice too, because I'll be singing lyrics in French that I wrote. And I also play guitars and percussions, and I wanted to create a lot of sound textures made with various things, like bass played with a bow, for example, And to help me, I invited friends of mine to play other instruments on it. So there will be accordion, saxophone, nickel harper, and many other surprises.
So this next example of your music is very Zen. I love Zen. It features your small harp and the wind.
Yes, I didn't even have to play for this. I just put my harp outside in a windy day and recorded this sound that I think every harpist knows.
We have one more musical selection to share today, Le Coeur des Géants. Please tell us the story behind this beautiful piece of music.
Thank you. I think you can't really guess it with the lyrics, but actually this piece is about the winter sleep of the bears. Le Coeur des Géants means the heart of the giants, and it's about the dreams bears do while they are sleeping deep down in their caves, dreams about the outside world. So this is a piece that hasn't been recorded in studio yet. It won't be in my next album, but probably in the one after that.
J'ai dormi tout l'hiver. Je me suis reposé. Dans la nuit éternelle de ma chambre de pierre. Et mon rêve m'a dit que là-haut, les guerriers écoutaient mon cœur battre dans le cœur de la terre.
Coriolan, thank you so much for being here on the podcast.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
It's been great. Thank you. We've included links to your websites, Facebook, YouTube, also Bandcamp, so that people can find out more about you and purchase your music. If you have questions, guest suggestions, please email me at openingtheharpchakra@yahoo.com. We've also provided links to PayPal and Venmo if you'd like to contribute to the production of this podcast. Please subscribe, please share, please tell your friends. We certainly appreciate that. And in the coming weeks, more beautiful harp music from around the world. I'm Jay Michaels. Thank you so much. Peace. Namaste.